Hello, welcome to Clarence's remapping and setup videos. We're gonna be remapping Forza Horizon this time. It's a driving game. I haven't done a driving game yet. We're gonna go ahead and unbind. Can we just redo it? Can we default it? Yeah, this is reset. So we're gonna start over. Right now, it would be very hard for me to drive. I don't think I could because I would have to use my left hand to drive. I can't accelerate and press right and left, right? So we already know we need to change that. So we're gonna start with that, just the absolute basics. For me, I want to have my left hand doing the accelerating and the braking. Okay, we're gonna have a nice big button like Alt is accelerate. Brake can be control. It's right there. I can shift my wrist around and hit those buttons. Steer left and right. We're actually going to make my right hand control those. And that may cause some problems. I don't ping. I can just make tab. I'm not really going to mess with that too much. See, I'm already noticing there's only one button you can make it. A lot of these AAA games have two custom presets. That's rough. So that's already going to take a couple points off. Another thing is you can't drive with your mouse, which I feel like you should be able to do. A lot of driving games do have that. And I'll probably do a driving game like Car X or something that allows you to do that after this. We're going to save and continue, and then we're going to go just see if we can just drive now. So we're noticing when we have some overlap here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. We really try to break it down into steps. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves and do it all at the same time. It's okay to just save a little bit, go out and try again. Okay, shift up and down. I'm not going to use shift, but I can. It's hard. I'm just learning to drive manual now in games. We'll do a video on that too, but I'm going to keep it separate because right now we're just trying to get the ability to drive, right? So the problems we were having is we were looking left and right. So we can just make this A and D because we're not really going to use it if we're accelerating too much, right? We also don't want to be looking up and down. So I'm just going to make that some random stuff. A lot of this like telemetry, map, horn, all of that is just preference. We're not going to mess with too much of that today. Toggle convertible. I mean, you know, they do allow you to remap tilde, which is a nice bonus. So they get a point for that. A lot of games force you to have console commands, and that's frustrating. So let's go out and see if we've gotten drivable. Okay, we have accelerate and brake and reverse. Okay, and it's not freaking out when I look left and right. It's looking like we have e-brake. Yep. So it's looking like we can drive pretty well with just some simple commands, which is nice. So we're gonna go a little bit further into it since that was fairly easy. I will note that in driving games that are designated driving games, my controls are different than in something like, say, Battlefield. Oops, forgot how actually realistic this game is and how bad of a driver I am. In games like Battlefield or GTA, you need to be able to look around with your mouse and drive. So what I do is I have W is accelerate, and then I have left control and Alt as turn. So I can drive with one hand, and then I can use the mouse. You know, I'm only going to be driving in this game. The reason that I would change it to one hand driving would be to use the clutch and drive in manual. And that is something I'm working on. I'm not good at it, but for the sake of it, we'll give it a try. So let's map it back to one-handed. So accelerate would be W, and brake would be S. Steer left would be control, and steer right would be Alt. Toggle, see, it made all those. It's fine because I'm not going to be using A and D. All right, so let's save that, and we'll show you guys what one-handed driving is like, and then maybe add the clutch. So see, I'm only using one hand, and this allows me to drive one-handed. I can use the e-brake as spacebar, so I do use my other hand for that. But okay, well, I'm not as good one-handed. I really use it for like games like Battlefield and GTA where you don't have to spam brake, but I can do it. If I wanted to use the clutch from my right hand, I could do that, and I could shift with up and down, or plus and enter, or whatever I decided to use. However, we do prefer in these types of games to use both of our hands. One more time, we're gonna go back, and again, I like to use my wrist and my left hand for one thing and my right hand for another, and that gives me a little bit more control. I can spam the brake. I learned to drive with one hand first, which is weird, but it felt comfortable. I don't know. And then I realized that it's a lot easier to drive with two hands because it's more natural. And I feel like my left hand is doing the job of your foot, from pedal to pedal, right? And then my right hand is doing the job of like a steering wheel, going back and forth. And that gives me a feeling of simulation in the game as well, which helps me be more into it, I guess, more immersive. So, you know, it gives us a lot of freedom. We have fun with it, and we're also bad sometimes, but that's okay. We make up for it. Yeah, so Forza, it's a great game. I will say the settings get a low score. It's about a 7 because they only allow for one remap, and they don't allow you to remap the mouse. So unfortunately, not the highest of scores. Give it like a C plus, B minus. However, we are able to do it, and we're able to remap it and play and have fun. I know Forza is a little bit of a niche game, but it does allow players to use a keyboard without too much accessible hardware. It would be a lot easier if I could map multiple buttons, because I could make little pads, essentially. I could map IJKL, and that could be like right, and then I could map TJ FH, and that could be left, and then it really doesn't matter if I'm missing a button. I'm guaranteed to hit one of those buttons. That's why it's important. I don't think companies think about that. I think, oh, like, who needs more than 2 buttons? Well, disabled people do. So, you know, food for thought, companies. Just gonna drive around a little more and kind of vibe. We have quite a bit of cars and money for playing. I have played quite a bit. I'm not much of a racer. I really do just prefer to drive around and relax. I feel like a lot of people feel like it's overwhelming to learn a game like this, but it's not. And you can practice, and you know, who cares if you crash a million times? Forza is a great game for that, and you can learn and try different things. But for me, I like to keep it as close to real feeling as I can get, and that allows me to be more immersive. I know I've said it, but it's important. It's important to be immersed in the video game, or you're not gonna have fun. I will say the game holds up nicely. Fun to play, hard to master. There's some crazy people out there, but I want to show people that you can play several different ways. Sometimes I like to use a gamepad, and I'll just steer with the joystick, and that's easy to smash those buttons, like a fight pad kind of thing. I can't use a steering wheel. Ironically, for flying games, I can use a joystick though, so we will do one of those videos here. We feel pretty confident driving. Yeah, well, this was a short one, but we're here. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. More videos to come, and I'm sure they'll get better quality over time. These are just some of my first videos. I really appreciate all the support. I'm trying to get it out there so I can help some other people. Been disabled a long time, and you know, I wish I had someone to tell me some of this when I was first disabled. So I'm hoping to be that person for some people. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good one.